this up. Silverado, why don't you come to your senses?
That's not the song at all.
What?
Close, but yes, we are back. We're in Napa, and it's weird because like the biggest thing that sticks out about this tournament for I don't know the last chunk of whatever time we've spent talking about this tournament is like, boy, this is a good one to grab a long shot. You know, this is a Patton Kazire big price. There's been some pretty big prices. You know, you can find some triple digit winners here. And then Captain Dipshit.
Hey,
Sorry, I bet on Europe, so I'm going to be very anti-American, like full on heel. But it's not a bad thought to get him some golf, competitive golf. But for my money, not a great warm up course for Bethpage Black. Not a lot of similarities between that. I mean, it's good to get the team together and doing something, but honestly, I would have just taken him somewhere, taken him to a hard course on the East Coast somewhere, and maybe like, hey, anybody else, you know, find some other amateurs, college players. I don't know if you wanted to have some guys to play against. If you just didn't want those, well, then you could have had all 12 too, because the PGA is not going to let Bryson play for sure. They said so much, which
is the right decision. For being honest,
it's right and it's wrong. Like the PGA has nothing to do with the Ryder Cup, so I understand that. But like the PGA, I guess if they truly like care about the American team, and it's an American based product, but at the same time, you know, internationals playing it too. So I understand them being, hey, we're neutral stance. This is what we said. Bryson's banned because he joined Live, so I get it, and I'm fine with that. So, but
it's a tough sell to your membership if Bryson wins. What if Bryson wins? Like that's what
that I hadn't even thought about that. That's the nightmare scenario.
Nightmare scenario.
We let Bryson play and he wins by like 3. Jesus Christ! Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Disaster.
But regardless, there are all the other Ryder Cup players are here, which
except
very
Xander.
much except Xander. He had Xander. Yeah. So 10 of the 12. Xander's having unconfirmed by Xander himself, I think, still, but sounds like he is having or had a baby.
Yeah,
not him,
one of those.
Probably his life partner. But either way, yeah, it leads to a spot where, you know, Scotty's 2-1. There's a bunch of other big names mixed in here, and it's very different. You basically can't use anything, you know, from last year as far as, well, hey, you know, a lot of people have pointed to like scrambling super important here. Yeah, because it's a bunch of golfers who are rated like 120th in the world playing, and they're not hitting the greens like Scotty Scheffler after he hits a 360-yard drive and wedges in to put it to 6 feet. He's not going to have to scramble. So it kind of takes the starch out of it. Although I did run a couple sub models as far as looking at, you know, there's so many fun names here outside of the big names that I think you could put a nice card of like top 40s, top 20s together. That said, I'm not wild about putting 5 or 6 outrights together to take on, you know, Scotty and the gang here. It's one thing, you know, I know Scotty doesn't win every week. He can't. That'd be very hard. Close. But this course just doesn't have anything to stop him. Like and again, the biggest difference besides everything else also is like the rough isn't penal here, whereas at Bethpage it'll be very much a problem if you find yourself in that rough. And here, I mean, quotes are just, well, I just hit it as hard as I can because it doesn't matter as long as I'm way down there and not way out of position. It's an easier approach shot, even if I'm in the rough. Don't care. So then you have a guy who can do that, and then probably still won't find the rough because he's accurate too. And then he's gonna have wedge shots in, and like if Scotty isn't in the top 5,
my Europe price is looking good because he got injured. Yeah, pretty benign course. As you know, Andy's talking about there. I mean, first of all, I want to step back. I like the thought of, we're going to take very different sides here. Andy's leaning into his German heritage. This is a very pro Keegan account here. I do have a Euro ticket. I'm not taking any more. I'm good. I also did not bet on the US side, but I will be definitely cheering for Keegan here. I'm in on all things USA. I think it's good getting them together to play competitive
It is.
leading up to it. At the same time, the Euros are doing it on the other side, with the BMW and
Wentworth.
The Wentworth is a loaded field as well, which is, really interesting to see. Rory coming off of the Irish win, like keeping these guys in competitive versus, getting the gang together at a pitch and putt so that, we can make sure Bryson can be a part of it. Like, no, I'll mess around with some team stuff, some like pairings, and I'll be interested to see what happens there. Yeah, obviously the test is not the same, but competitive golf, get them dialed up has not been something.
Yeah, that's the that's the debate. It's like competitive golf at a terrible short resort course that looks nothing like what they're going to play against the Europeans versus just 10, 11 guys hanging out by themselves, and you can put them on a big course, and I don't know, like. It's the other thing too. I guess the argument against going to the pro core with them, it's not the same. It's stroke play versus the field. Like it's not what you're going to be
just
doing.
Form, right?
It is just form. It is getting them to play. And I think the Europeans have always had a little bit of advantage with that because of just the DP schedule and how our schedule ends with, basically like, oh, Tour Championship, we're done. Such is life. Catch you in a month and Whistling Straits, guys.
Yeah. These scenarios with 4 or 5 weeks off heading into the Ryder Cup has not worked consistently. So handicapping the course, Andy did a lot of it there. It is a pretty straightforward track. I'll pop this up here. BetSperts Golf course stats page. You can see it is classified as a very short par 72. 71 and change from the tips, narrow corridors in terms of, driving off the driving, but at the same time, like not very penal rough. So we see a fairly low fairway hit rate, but at the same time, it doesn't really, really matter. Smaller greens, 5,400 square feet, classified as small, 2.5 to 3 inch rough is just not going to mess around. These guys, not going to stop them at all. Even though you see difficult to hit fairways, but the low rough penalty is just a mix of why you have, again, to Andy's point, a lower tier field consistently kind of finish in the high teens and 20s. That's just, not a daunting test for these guys. So really just who's playing the best. It's a wedge fest. And we'll look at this here real quick too. You see a lot of approach shots from less than 100, 125 and in, just a lot of, driver wedge. You can see off the tee, pretty average from a driving distance standpoint. Driver usage is kind of in line there too. Accuracy is down, but it doesn't matter. Good driver percentage is still up there when you start to look at, approach, greens and reg. Even though you're, again, low fairway hit rate, greens and reg are above average. Greens and reg from the fairway very high again.
On the smaller side, the greens aren't huge, but again,
they're small. It doesn't matter.
Easier. They are easier to hit because, for the most part, you're hitting shorter irons / wedges into these. I did build a model around that. I wanted to build one. I said, I think I can build a model. It's going to be maybe terrible, but I think I can build a model where Scotty isn't first using, a couple stats that matter. And I did the first time I built it, I didn't do minimums. And it was a mess. Like it was putting crazy people in up top because these guys had played like 4 measurable rounds and did well at the things. But I did 50% driving distance, 50% proximity from 50 to 100, just legitimately driving and wedges. And Scotty's like 15th.
Okay, sounds like a bad model.
Well, I mean, it's not really a who's going to win.
No, I get what you're doing.
This was more of a who has those things in their bag the most. And, if you take and add form, the guy who's like 5th is probably going to drop to 80th because I'm sure they don't have good form. But you can start digging through some of the names that pop on a sub model like that, and start looking for some guys that have had some nice finishes here and there, and maybe it's a nice long shot to finish top 20, 30, 40.
You can see here, right? We're looking at pretty decent spike compared to the tour average. 36.5% of your shots are coming from the 50 to 125 range. Again, 15% above average. So a lot of wedges. Everything else is fairly flat. Again, you're getting less of the mid irons, 150 to 175. All that stuff is a little bit lower because obviously it's all funneling into that 50 to 125 range. You're 200 plus is below average. So yeah, that's the premier. That's the scoring clubs too, right? We're talking about, driver, wedge. Sometimes you get into like, proximity from, 225 plus. Well, it's like, it's not my favorite stats because those aren't necessarily thought of in terms of scoring. Obviously, you'd rather have the proximity on weeks where that's important. You'd rather have that proximity look good than look poor. But at the same time, it's not necessarily you're not pin seeking from 225 plus often.
Not with 5,000 square foot greens either.
Correct. Yeah. From 50 to 125, you are pin hunting. So scoring, we're playing, pretty consistently below par. And again, birdie or better rates higher. Everything's and again, the field is going to be throwing it off. Historically, we'll probably look back on this one and be like, what the hell happened? Because again, our field's a little bit stronger. So as you can see, last year, Kizzire 20, then look at this field. Lipsky, Fishburne, Mac Hughes, Ben Silverman. The Canadians love this place. Connors is over in Europe this time, which is interesting.
Yep. He can't play in the Ryder Cup.
Can't.
He's too Canadian.
Yeah.
There's some bad golfers have won this. Patton Kizzire, Max Homa.
What?
I know. I just had to take a shot because he's terrible now. He'll figure it out. Maybe. You never know. Some guys just never get it back. Stewie Sink at age what? How old is Stewie Sink right now?
Stewie Sink right now? Probably like 52, 53.
I was going to say Stuart Sink age 52. Good call. So a 47, 48-year-old Stuart Sink.
Yeah.
So you don't need this. Well, I guess I give Stewie. Stewie's still got a nice stroke, but
you'd rather have it. You'd rather have it. You don't need it.
You would rather have it when you're here. So I did build a full model. If you want to pull that up too, it's just I have 2 expert models. So the full bodied Napa Red is my full model, and I did leave those 2 stats. I left the overall proximity from 50 to 100 in, and I left driving distance in, but I added form over the season. I added going for the green birdies are better. I added regular birdies are better, and I added just approach play, just overall approach play, because driving distance is going to be great, but it is the guys who are pin seekers, who are scorers. Everything is going to center around second shot scoring and finding yourself some it's not a fast green. These are going to be 11, 12 tops, I suppose. It looks like the climate is pretty normal for this time of year. We're not going to have some like outliers. But yeah, 11.5, it looks like the site has. So if you can find yourself some makeable putts, I think you're going to make a bunch of them.
Yeah. And this makes sense. Some wedge guys. I mean, I didn't put distance in mine, I don't think, but it's always an advantage. It's always clearly an advantage. So yeah, you see probably pretty easy to think about what my model is going to be. And you take out some of these red guys, these red numbers on driving distance. Those guys float towards the top of my model, which makes a lot of sense here too. So, all right, full bodied red. I like it. Who's struggling? I like to look by salary here. Sam Burns towards the top, not doing well for you. Ben Griffin's okay. Cam Young further down in your model. Not a great wedge player. Yeah, that's showing itself here too. Let's see some of your bigger guys. HE, another Ryder Cup guy, not a big wedge guy. He's played better golf really on longer golf courses. historically, but yeah, he's not modeling particularly well for you.
I didn't put putting in, so sorry, Harris.
True. I'm just seeing here what.
Look at Thorbjornsen. Almost his name's almost getting into his salary there. Jeepers.
Yeah, it's a lot of name.
Go look at that other one. That just wedges and drivers. That's a fun one. The first 6 guys in that model are 6,000 priced in the in DFS. Jeremy Paul, Carl Phillips, Chan Kim, big Chan Kim guy, Trevor Cohn, Trey Mullinax, and Jackson Subar, the youngster, Kevin Roy. It's not like he's far out. He's 7,200. Bo Hostler. It takes till you get to the 10th guy where you get a big name in JT. David Skins is 9th. David Skins, Englishman, playing in Napa rather than Wentworth. I mean, a couple guys are. I think some of these guys just they'd rather play over on the PGA Tour when they can.
Sure, with those points. I try to make the case.
That is my other little bone to pick. These swing season events absolutely matter for these guys because based on what you do in these 8 events in the off season, it can really help some of these mid-range guys make it into events next year.
For sure.
Based on how they finish. So Keegan just, putting himself first and probably we're going to have stories about like, hey, this guy, he lost his tour card because of Keegan, because he brought everybody there.
All the guys he brought are PGA Tour pros, right? They're allowed to play PGA Tour events?
Yeah, they are, but normally they would never be here. They're forced. I heard 3 or 4.
You think Meredith doesn't want to go to Napa at this time of year? It's lovely.
The wives want to go for sure. God, man, my wife brought that up when I said the golf is in Napa this week. We should go to Napa. Well, of course we should go to Napa.
Last year.
I like to go every year. It's I celebrate that area.
It's a lovely area.
I will say, there's no chance Keegan is the worst U.S. Ryder Cup captain ever. Like, there's just such a big gap between, I think, for one. So Keegan, you got that going for you, buddy. Even though you probably ruined someone's life by taking his tour card by doing this. I'm probably going to play some Chan Kim. I'm going to look at Chan Kim's price. He's a guy I like. But again, these are people you need to click on their name and go look at other stuff too, because this is certainly not an indicator that like just, hey, all these guys are going to succeed. It will be very funny if all of those guys do succeed, but Jackson Subar isn't probably a huge sample, even though I did put in some qualifiers saying they had to have at least, I believe, 30 rounds on the PGA Tour this season, because the first time I ran this, like I said, it was a mess.
I tried to make a case a little bit for Justin Thomas, because I do think, again, lack of penalty for wayward drives, he still remains one of the best wedge players in the world, and the putter can get hot, still have spike putting upside here, where it's a decent spot for JT, which I don't hate. And again, getting into this time of year, he's a veteran on that team. I think he wants to be rounding into form, so I think you see these guys kind of dialed in, to be honest. I'll pull up my Silverado for us. Not a super surprising result. Again, Scotty at the top. Russell Henley. When you look at this, I mean, there's a lot of ones here for Henley's, right up in the mix here with Scotty. The putting is what held Henley back a little bit, maybe to pass Scotty, but let's see what we're looking at here. Strokes gained, total.
It's a scoring week. You won't have to putt.
Yeah, it's true.
What do you think the winner scores here? Normally it's
20,
15, 16, 17. Feels like 22, doesn't it?
Yeah, I say 22. Yeah, right in that range. But yeah, I like these big 3 at the top. I think Scotty, Henley, and JT are really good plays. This is modeling well for the U.S. team. Mark Hubbard's probably going to get some long shot money for me. Mark Hubbard is playing pretty good golf. Didn't find himself in the playoffs again. That's hard to like lay on form from the Wyndham, but played well there. Again, I think it's corollary, and he's played fairly well at this event in the past. So these are actually decent Hubbard setups where not really punished off the tee. Good wedge player, can get hot with the putter. So Hubbard's a a long shot look for me. I don't know how I want to have a lighter swing season outright card. But maybe one shot at the top and then one outright. I did bet Russell Henley at 18-1. Which surprises nobody.
Yeah, what's the best price you're seeing on JT? I feel like he's right in that same range.
Yeah,
15,
he's
16, 18.
Yeah, 16, 18, 17 on Chris, 18 on Rivers, if you can get that, 16 pretty much everywhere else.
Okay. I'll probably bet him. I need one big name, and several things I've looked at have pointed me towards JT at this point, and just obviously what his skill set brings. It's not Scheffler, but considering the price, I think I can get behind him. So my card is probably Justin Thomas, and after that, it'll be some other guys to place. I'll probably find some of that in the next couple hours, put it in a newsletter. I'll tweet it out too if I bet anything seriously. But yeah, taking it easy. Not that I'm going to bet a lot on the Ryder Cup. I already have several bets on the Ryder Cup, and truthfully, there just isn't that much that you can bet on besides
free flop. It's tough.
Yeah, I like to take. Once we get closer, there'll be some alts. I always do take alts on the team I like because you usually get a pretty good price. Like I think I had some Europe minus 3.5, 4.5, something like that last time around. And I mean, those are pretty big numbers you can get on a team winning by margin. And just the way the scoring works, every time you score a point, the other team can't. So I mean, it's like a two-way. Yeah, I know it's priced in, but boy, it can just turn quickly, and especially when you get to the end and it's clear that the cup is belonging to one team or the other. Sometimes those Sunday singles can, when they turn into dead rubbers, it just can get into a blowout scenario there anyway. We see that. I mean, there's been a lot of home blowouts.
Have you been watching the Tales from the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, I was at B-Dubs last night. We had a volleyball match and had to stop to get supper on the way home, and I was just glued to the one TV that was showing all the old clips and stuff. It's been great. I mean, I'm going to watch some of that with sound on. It would have been great if I could hear it, but between that and I was killing the trivia too. So what are you going to do? And it was BOGO and traditional. So pretty good night.
Good night, bud.
Pretty good night.
Good night.
But yeah, like I'm saying, I'm not saving up all this money to bet on the Ryder Cup. I just am pumping the brakes on putting a lot of money into this tournament because also there's the NFL to bet.
Yeah. So I'm on Henley at 18, and I'm going to get on Mark Hubbard 80-1. I might look at the without markets for that a little bit, so it's something shorter and probably the 60 range or something like that on Hubbard, or maybe it's a Hubbard top 5, top 10. I think he's a decent long shot sprinkle this week too. But obviously, just infatuated with the kids. The new guys. Jackson Koiven's absolutely incredible to watch. Watching Jackson Koiven and the Walker Cup at Cypress Point, which was, I don't know, did you watch any of that?
A little bit. I caught clip. I didn't watch any live, but I caught some replay.
It happened after the Bills Ravens game. Went over to the Golf Channel and it was on. They were playing it delayed. Man, Cypress Point, like it's just they let it breathe. They had a ton of drone shots. It was awesome. The coverage was fantastic. I mean, just the absolute golf porn on the television on a Sunday night. It was awesome. So watched a lot of that late Sunday, and so Koiven, I don't know, I'll probably do something, finishing position top 10 or something on that. So
here's a quick Walker Cup take, and I think most people are in the same camp. If you didn't know, previously up until 1977, the Ryder Cup was United States versus GBI, Great Britain, Ireland. And it was not competitive eventually because that's just how it goes. Like it's such a small sampling of golfers you're taking from a long time ago when those, like all the good golfers came from there, and forever ago, I guess it was probably a better match, but they said everybody in Europe can play starting in 79, which is the right call. There's been a lot of competitive Ryder Cups, obviously, over the past, 50 years. The Walker Cup needs to go to that. The U.S. is like 40-10 5 or something. Like it's been just kind of a dominant thing. That's not fun. It's not fun if it's not a competition. If it's kind of like the President's Cup has become too, with a little of that, where it's like, man, this isn't going to be that good. Like that's what makes the Ryder Cup good, is like you know it's going to be a good competition, even if there are some blowouts here and there. That whoever's home has a distinct advantage and probably can beat a team that's maybe even a little better than them. It just doesn't feel like that ever with the Walker Cup.
No, it's a good point. I mean, you started to get that right around that time. You started to get your boy Bernhard Langer in there, and then Seve and Jose Maria. Like you started to get like the Spaniards, and like there's just a lot more on the European side that wasn't able to play in the Ryder Cup. And you had actually good players on both sides skipping the event because it was just kind of a hit and giggle. Like it wasn't really a thing really yet. It was previously.
It had been 20 years straight of the U.S. winning at that point when they switched. Sure. There was one tie where they retained, and even once they changed, the U.S. won the next 3. It wasn't until '85 at the Belfry where Europe took it back. When that was the first Europe win. But there was some good ones in there, and God, I'm looking now. Billy Casper as the captain. Look at that.
Yeah. Highly recommend if you like the Ryder Cup, Tales from the Ryder Cup. You can find it on YouTube. I think it's Golf Channel, NBC. Like it's a 3-part series, I believe. They've aired the first 2. I had my son locked in watching part 2 yesterday because they were showing the Miracle at Medina, and he caddies at Medina. So he's like, dude, that's hole 1. And he's like, oh, this is that used to be hole, like, because they've done some rerouting in the back 9.
It's forever.
He's like, oh, I know that. Like, yeah. So some of the holes are still the same. Some of it, like, they've created rock walls and spots where it used to be kind of that like cascading fronts. And yeah, it was cool. So I'm like, hey, President's Cup there next year. So it's going to look different when they start to put in all those grandstands here soon. But yeah, highly recommend Tales from the Ryder Cup if you're a fan. So free ad read for you folks at NBC. There you go.
You're welcome.
Hopefully. Yeah.
So because you're so good at broadcasting golf.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully they nailed it for the Ryder Cup. But
I mean, Henley, it's a lot harder to screw that up. Like there's just not that many shots. It feels like they'll be show most. It gets tricky on on Sunday, or on the final day there's but the app is really good. That's another recommendation. Like have the app. There's an app, right? I feel like I watched a bunch of this on my phone a couple years ago. Did you get the score thing? Or was I doing it on like ESPN? I don't know. Is there a Ryder Cup app? Now I
remember being I just am always up and watching it on the TV. So maybe there is.
Well, it feels like I was able to stream something too. Because you had you could do one match on the TV and then another on like a tablet or something. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, there's an app. Check that out. Any other Silverado thoughts as I'm pulling up top 40 prices here?
Nope. Henley, Hubbard, long shot, Koiven, solid finish. Those are my guys. Your JT. Who was your longer shot?
I'm gonna play Chan Kim top 20 at 6-1.
Okay.
Maybe another name too, but I'm a Chan Kim guy. Always have been. He's a pretty big number to top 20 here. And then BMW, I will be playing along with a lot of people. A lot of people are in this boat, but Ryan Fox, I'll have a bet on him across the pond. Didn't really talk much about the PGA, the BMW, but we don't cover DP all that much.
Yeah.
Did you make any bets?
Hopefully soon. I've not. I looked at the odds board, just fascinated by Hideki's in the field, just some random center. Like, oh, okay, yeah, good for you. I get that they wouldn't be in Silverado necessarily, but yeah.
I mean, Ryan Fox is 110-1 at some places still. He should be 50.
Yeah, he should almost never beat 110. He's so streaky. Yeah.
So little Ryan Fox bet, little Chan Kim, little JT. Not a guy I back a lot, but
no.
Considering the price and the skill set, I do like him here.
Yeah, I like JT too. That would be Henley and JT, definite top 2 favorites for me, or I guess non-Scotty favorites. Yeah, that'd be where I'd go to the top of the board. So appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Betsperts Golf. Again, Ron's preview still on the site. He will still be here. We're going to be doing again Wednesdays during the swing season. Easier for Andy and I during the football season. With Tuesday, we have daily responsibilities on the football side, but easier for Wednesday, and then get in those pre-tournament bets, and we'll try to keep it a little bit tighter. But again, Betsperts Golf on the YouTube channel. Make sure, and when you listen to podcasts, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. We'll still be here for all of these. And again, next time you'll see us, so it'll be Ryder Cup discussion.
Yeah, we'll be off next week, but we will do Ryder Cup talk in 2 weeks. And then the weeks following that, you have Sanderson Chicken Farms. You have the Bay Current,
Correct.
which is the old Zozo. And then there's another off week. And then we get the cool one out in Utah, the Black Desert.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe another off week, and then Worldwide Tech Bermuda and the RSM to close out the season before we call it December and don't do much of anything and just prep and work with the devs on hopefully just getting DP World Tour data into the rabbit hole. That would be the ideal December for me, and I think for you guys too. So we'll catch you on the flip side. See you in 2 weeks for the Cup. Viva Europe.